Jorma, congrats on the film. I had such a blast watching it. I was curious what your approach is to a remake, because obviously you want to carry over that core, which you know works and made the original special, but you also don't want it to be a retread. I thought you really let your stars shine here. So, how did you find that middle ground?
Yeah, I think you put it very succinctly. It's hard to even want to make a remake, and I like the original so much, and it's just like you gotta kind of think about like what you feel like you can either enhance. I don't even want to say enhance because I really felt like the original like does exactly what it wants to do. But for me, it was like a tonal shift that I wanted to bring to it. Like I obviously wanted to push the comedy where I could, but again, as you said, like honor what the original does so well. And so like there's moments that you have to like kind of look at your own ego and be like, I don't want to change things at work. I don't want to like just like put my stamp on something that is already there and doesn't need your stamp. So thing and it's also then in those moments allowing the actors to do the work because it is so different tonally just from having a different cast. And I feel like what Samara and Jason bring to this tonally is so different than the original. The original is very dark. It's very emotionally sort of dark and angry in very much in a very purposeful way. And I think for this version, I wanted the characters to be a bit more sympathetic and build to like a real. It has the same arc completely as the original movie, and I love the structure of the original movie because it's so surprising, and especially for people that we're also well versed in storytelling now. Like I'm just having watched so many things. That's really nice to see something that moves totally different than you're expecting it to. But it was really like letting those guys do the work of like being different characters, being like I think more sympathetic. That it was all that it was having us all create this like different tone that I was so happy to get to a point where I felt like I was really proud of what this movie was, and having Tommy, who did the original film, be really proud of it as well. I didn't fuck it up. That's the short
Yeah,
answer.
definitely didn't. I had a blast watching this film, and there's some really nasty scenes to it, but it always manages to be fun. How was it managing to have some real like brutal disfiguration in the film, but also keeping the tone light? Like it seems like those would clash, but somehow it doesn't.
No, that was like very much by design, and I think that is like very much my tone with anything. Like again, I'm always trying to push the comedy, but I think the comedy allows you to be as dark as it is. Like it's sort of inarguably like a grosser it goes there. It really goes to like pretty dark, fucked up places. And it is very violent, but I think it always in a really fun way. I've been telling people like my mom, like watching my mom and my stepmom, who are not that kind of person, like guffaw laughing at some of the most horrific stuff in the film. But I think that it is that trick of like it's like the humor is the thing that stitches it all together because there are so many different tones. It's almost like three different movies in one, and the way it goes and the way it builds is like it's going from one to the other. But it's the humor to me, and there's the charm between like all like the couples. Honestly, like Samara and Jason, and between our baddies of like Juliet and Timothy Oliphant, and then this other like wonderful, lovable psychopath and Keith Jardine. Like all of that working with like there's humor in all of those things, but it's what stitches it together to me in like a really like nice kind of like cohesive way.
Yeah, great casting on Keith Jardine, by the way. I'm a big UFC fan, so it was great seeing him in here. And
Love
my
him.
last question for you, I
Yeah.
feel like Popstar Never Stop Popping is one of the most underrated movies of the 2010s. A decade later, I still go back to it and watch it every year. What are you most proud about that movie? Because I love it and it has a real place in a lot of people's hearts.
I mean, well, just jokes per minute. I think it has a pretty high jokes per minute quotient. But I think it was really hard for us to like make. I don't say hard for us, but I think it in kind of the way that this movie does too. It's like there is a heart like that is the backbone of it. There's some fucking crazy jokes in it. The music, like we had to make an entire album of like I think pretty good songs before you even make the movie. So I'm proud of that. Like, to have made like both a movie and like a decent album at the same time is like a feat in itself. And then like the edit, honestly, is the biggest thing. I mean, it took us 7.5 months to edit that. There's 400 hours of footage in that movie, which is basically like how much an actual documentary would have. Normally, like a regular feature film has about 120 hours. So it's like just going through and getting all these things. The amount of times that we yelled, "That's a wrap" on this movie was crazy because we just could keep adding on to it with like him doing Snapchats and changing the story and fine tuning the story. There was a moment that I'll leave you with this, but I remember Phil and Chris, who just did Hail Mary, Spider Verse, like unbelievable writers, like filmmakers. But there was one point where Phil and Chris watched. We just showed them the first act, and then, or that they showed them the movie, and Phil suggested like 10 different versions of the first act. He was like, "What about this?" And you ordered this, and every, he might have been more than that. Like, but we were like, tried that, tried that, tried that, tried that, tried. Like every single one of them, we were like, we did 108 versions of just the first act of that movie, and it's like did it. We did it. We brought it to the nth degree of what it was supposed to be. And so I'm very proud of that because like we never let the bone out of our mouth, so to speak. I don't know if that's a phrase.
It works. Congrats
Thank
on
you.
over your dead body in your career. This is a great film, so a lot to be proud of here. Thank you.
Thank you, man.